Hello, my name is Yeji, otherwise known as ANdmadeco here on YouTube and on Instagram. Today I have a regular video of my finished object as well as some works in progress and some acquisitions that came in. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that my giveaway is still open and that's in my last video, so if you'd like to participate, please comment and view the last video and I will announce the winners in April Makes video, which will be the first video of May, not March like I said in last week's video. Now let's jump into what I'm wearing. I'm wearing Moon Set Tee by Ozetta, and this tee goes up to a 63-inch bust. And so I would say it's quite size inclusive, and I knit mine in a size large, which is the 4th size in the recommended needles, which is US 3, a 3.25 millimeter needle. And I knit mine with Holskarn Coast in the color 26 Azure, and I have a swatch to show you. So looking at the swatch, you can see that it is quite light and the fabric is very drapey. It really feels, it's very thin. I think after I block it, it really softened up. I love Holskarn Coast for its affordability as well as just the softness and the bounce of the fabric. It is one of those where it does break quite easily, but when you're knitting with it, that's not really an issue unless you're really tugging at it. And also when you have it as a garment, then it's really not an issue. I did wear this tee before in episode 2, but the colors were quite blown out then, and hopefully you can see it a little better now. Moving on to finished objects, I have one to show you this week, and it is a pair of socks. I just started this on Sunday and I was able to finish it, so right after I made the video last week, I decided to start on these socks, and I really love how they turned out. They are a pair of vanilla socks just with some motifs on it. So the motif is from Jamie Lomax's Doodle Knit Directory, and they are the butterfly motif as well as the, I think this is the geometric 15, but if it's 14 then I'll have it on the screen. Regardless, I'll have both the names of it on the screen, but it is either 14 or 15, and I modified it a little bit so that it would be one color leading into another rather than, I think in the motif it had the main color up here as well with the contrast color just in the motif. So this is how they turned out. I made it so that the butterfly would be at the center of the foot or the center of the ankle, the leg when it's on, so it would look more like this. And I really enjoy just making these. I would say that I did catch my floats for these socks. I didn't let it go past 5 stitches without catching a float, so they are a little more neat than my usual socks, I guess, but I think that they turned out beautifully. I used Botanical Yarn Starlight Knitting Society sock set that I got from Flock Fiber Festival last year, and I just really wanted to make them. We went on a date on Sunday to a place called Stitch Cafe here in Seattle, and it's a cafe where they sell some yarn downstairs, not a lot, but I think just a couple of different lines, and then you can knit upstairs and of course buy coffee, and I had a hojicha latte and it was very good. And so when we were on our date night, I decided to start my socks, and then once I started, I couldn't finish. I did the motif first for both the socks because that was the part that I enjoyed the most, and then I think what got me through the foot quickly was that I added a little bit of the geometric detail on the foot as well, so it motivated me to finish the socks faster. And the Starlight Knitting Society, I guess the sock set did come with these 2 different contrast colors, this darker pink and this super bright pink. And I used both of them. I think they kind of clash. They don't really go together. But because they were both available, I used them both, and I'm really happy I did because at the end, when I weighed my socks, I only had 2 grams left of the contrast color, the darker pink. And then of the bright pink, I had, I think, 15 grams left. So I only used 5 grams for both of these socks. Or I used 2.5 grams in each sock for the bright pink. One thing I wanted to note is that I think these are the second pair of speckled socks that I've made in recent memory from hand dyers, and the speckle in one sock is a lot greater than the speckle in the other, and it's on both. I don't know if you can really tell on screen, but I did pull from the middle of one skein and then from the end of the other, so I think it's probably just how it was dyed. I don't know if that's luck, if that would be on everybody's skein that was in this batch, or if it was just mine, but I did notice that. It doesn't really bother me, but I think I was debating on making a garment with this sock set, and I'm really happy I didn't, just because of how different the two bodies of the socks are. So I guess that's one thing to be cautious of for myself when I do make items with hand dyed yarn. Maybe it would have been less obvious if I did continue. If I did make one sock and then I made another, the speckles might have been a little more gradual, but I think because I pulled from the middle of one and from the end of one, it just looks very different like this. For the socks itself, I just did 12 rounds of ribbing, and then I did one color of the contrast color, and then I added in the main color. And then for the while I was doing that, I increased. So I started with 64 stitches, increased to 72 because the chart is based off of 24 stitches. So there are 3 butterflies on each of these socks. And the thing is, my color work is looser, so I should have gone down. I should have sized down for my needle, but I kept with my 2.25 US ones just because I didn't have a US 0 circular needle, a 9-inch circular at that point. And then I ordered it while I was doing this, and it came by the time I was down here. So down here I did the US 0s just for this color work portion, and I think it is more even. So going forward, if I do have to increase to 72 stitches rather from 64, then I will use a US 0 just so that my color work stays more even. But I think most people have the opposite problem where they would have to increase their needle size to make their color work work with the tension of the rest of their socks. So just if you are trying to do color work on your socks, then I would definitely try both and keep on trying on your socks just in case they don't fit, because you don't want to be all the way down to the foot and then have them not go over your ankle. So I'm really happy with how these came out, and I am also excited that I have an April pair of socks, or I think this is my 5th pair of socks this year, and we're on the 4th month, so we're a little bit ahead, and I'm excited for that just in case I decide not to make socks for a while, or just in case I, fall behind a little bit later on in the year. Moving on, my next 2 works in progress are the same works in progress I showed last week, but I did get some good progress in them. So first we have the Baci Sweater by Monmi Choi, and I am knitting this in a size 3. Last week I said size 2, but I meant 3, and I think I got confused just because of the ease of the sweater. So a size 3 would give me 8 inches, and it was the size 2 that would have given me 5 inches, and I guess I decided somewhere in the middle to go with size 3 instead of 2, which is where the mix-up came from. And so I am knitting a size 3. It looks like it'll have plenty of positive ease, and so I'm really happy. I did do the sleeve joining in the round, and then after the yoke, I joined in the round, and we have the sleeves. I haven't knit the sleeves yet just because for this one I want to use up the plate of yarn that I'm using, but I did do it where last week I was saying that I was interested on how the columns would shift, and it was quite smart in terms of how she made it where it isn't obvious how it shifts, but it still does, and I think the effect is really cool. You can't really tell that much. I only have 2 cables here, but I love how it looks so far, and I can't wait to finish this. It is very light. 100 grams of the Manchilopes carries you so far. I'll have a picture of how far it goes. And so I'm currently on my 2nd Manchilopes. I still have this much left of my Manchilopes, and this is Wool Dreamer's Manchilopes in Azul Cobalto. And so I think I will definitely have enough to finish up the body, and then I'll do the sleeves and the collar before I guess work on the hem for the body if I'm at that point. But I want to finish this up because I don't want to have to split splice all of my yarn multiple times. So far I've had really good luck in not breaking my yarn, which isn't a big deal for unspun yarn, but it's nice that it was just next to me and it comes off really easily from the plate. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out, and I can't wait to work on it even more. And I also have some really good progress on my Vertices Unite by Stephen West, and this is how much I have. So I've done part A, and I'm currently working on part B. And I think for this, I'm not really rushing it. I think if I finish one part a week, then it would take me, I think, 5 or 6 weeks to get through the entire thing. And I'd be really happy with that. Plus the border, so maybe closer to 7 weeks. But I am really enjoying working on this project, so it might get done earlier than that. But I did use, I think, the darkest color and the second lightest color for this part, and then the third color and the first color for this part, and then the fourth darkest color, which is similar to this dark color, I'll just use as on its own as a solid, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm really liking this monochromatic look. I think that you can still see the difference in the colors, and so I am currently just working back and forth on this really long second piece, but I think it will turn out beautifully, and I really enjoy the drape of the fabric, as I said last week. And this is Frankie Gray Fibers Hybrid Knit Along Kit in Midnight Fade from 2023. I'm not sure that they sell it still, but I think that the dye job was really beautiful, and I'm really excited to continue working on this. I just reached back to grab some yarn, and I do know that my tulips are drooping again. My sister and her family, they went to a tulip farm here in Washington last Saturday, and they got me the tulips, so they are kind of dying now, but they're very beautiful. I've never seen a tulip like this where it looks like a cabbage, and I'll show pictures of when it before it bloomed and then after it bloomed. It's so beautiful, and I was so happy to receive it from them. But I grabbed these yarns. I won't talk a lot about it because I've talked about this project that I want to make for a while, but I just wanted to say that I ordered from Wool & Co, and I did order their free hand winding balls, and I think if you order that, then you can't return the yarn. But I think otherwise it's really nice because it comes like this where it's already ready to go, and they winded it better than I could ever dream to do. So this is the Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock worsted that I got one each more of, and the colors seem to be very well matched with the ones I already have in hank form. And so I'm so happy that I got the free hand winding because this is so satisfying to look at. I know I'll use this yarn soon, so I don't mind it having been wound up. And also, I'm just really happy. It looks so satisfying to look at, as I said. So I just wanted to mention it. Another acquisition I received in the mail is from Little Knits, and when I order from Little Knits, they always write these little notes. I haven't had 3 people write notes before. It's usually just 1 or 2, but I guess when they do the quality check, they write it, and it's so cute. And every time I read their messages, I get really happy, and so thank you, Little Knits. But also, I did get some yarn. In a previous video, I showed off a couple of objects that I made from yarn from Little Knits as a preview knit with their Barocco yarn, which was so beautiful and so nice to work with. And from that, I wasn't expecting anything, but Fule sent me a small gift card. And so using the gift card as well as putting in my own money, I also decided to buy some yarn from them just because they had some new colors of Cascade 220 come in. And for the colors that you want, that you like, it's good to be signed up for their newsletter because when they announce it, these colors sell out really quickly. And so I jumped on the chance to get some colors that I wanted, and I got them, and I'm really happy with them. So I'll show you what I have. I bought 5 hanks of this faded denim heather Cascade 220. I'm not sure what I'm going to be making with this color yet, but I did get 1,000 meters. I think that'll be enough for a sweater for myself. And I just love this color, this faded denim heather. And so I'm really looking forward to using this. And I think Cascade 220 has to be in my top 3 yarns for sure, in terms of just the wearability as well as the versatility and also just the hardiness of the yarn. I love that it's 100% wool for at least the Cascade 220. And I haven't worked with the superwash a lot, but with the superwash that I did work with, I also enjoyed that. But I think just the classic 220 is my number 1 pick of any of the Cascade line yarns, and it might even be number 1 of all of the yarns I've worked with. I would say it's definitely within that top 3. So I am so excited to work with this, and I can't wait to find a project that suits this yarn. And the other purchase I made is this, which is an Aspen Heather. And this I have 7 hanks of because I want to make my husband something. And if I want to make my husband anything cabled, then I think I need around 7 hanks. 6, but 7 to be safe. So that would be 1,400 meters, or I think around 1,500 yards. And so I'm really happy to have this, and he really likes this color as well. So I know that in my Make 9, I have a square of making something in his favorite color, and I have the auburn color for that. But other than that color, I think I might also make him something in this color. I'm not sure if it'll be in this year or next year because I already made him the port jacket for this year, and I'll make him another sweater at the end of this year. But I think maybe this will come sometime after that. And that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. Just another reminder that the giveaway is still open, and I hope this one's a shorter episode because I know the past few have been a little longer. And I hope you have a great week. I will see you next week. Bye.